In this class, we're going to be doing two different things. I will show you how to make a bookbinding hole punching cradle, and I will also show you two methods of punching holes in signatures and in book covers to make your own books. The materials you'll need to make your cradle are the following. You will need duct tape. You will need bookboard, enough to make these two pieces and these two pieces. You'll see in the download section a PDF file that has a pattern and the measurements for making this cradle. You will also need a straight edge. I like using a heavy metal square, but you can also use a smaller ruler or metal straight edge. You can use other straight edges too, but I like the metal ones because then you don't slice into the straight edge with your utility knife. You'll need a pencil. You'll need a ruler if you're going to be making the cradle so that you can get the correct measurements. And you will need a utility knife and possibly an X-Acto knife, although you can do the whole thing with a utility knife. They must have very sharp blades because the bookboard is quite tricky to cut. It's not like cutting mat board or cardboard. It's really very compressed, dense board, which is why it's nice. That's why it's used to make book covers. And it makes a very, very stable cradle. In addition to showing you how to make the cradle for punching holes, I'm going to show you two methods of punching the holes. The first will be using the cradle. The second will be without the cradle, a handheld method, the method that I use when I'm traveling and I don't have the cradle available to me. For punching the holes, you will need a sheet of graph paper. It doesn't really have to be graph paper, but I just find it easier to use graph paper. A pencil or a pen. I'm using a pencil in this case. You will need something to punch the holes with. For the cradle, you can use a regular bookbinding punching needle. I've also used an ice pick. I've used vegetable kebabs. For the handheld method, which is method number 2, you need just a regular, somewhat thick embroidery needle. You will need some paper cut into signatures. A signature is several pieces of paper cut the same size and folded and pieced together. Okay, so this signature has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. They're all the same size. These are recycled file folders. And then they're put together. So this is one signature. I have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 signatures. The book that I will be working with, Punching the Holes, has 7 signatures. You will also need a book cover. I'm using part of a shoebox from Fly of London. You can use just a piece of cardboard, whatever you want to use for a cover. We will not be making the book in this class. This class is simply about punching the holes when you make a stitched sketchbook or illustrated journal. I will be showing you in another class how to do Coptic binding, double needle Coptic binding, and in several other classes in the bookmaking series, you'll be doing 2-section, 1-section, and 3-section sewing. So you will need to know how to punch holes. So this is a separate class, all its own. I also will be including this entire class in each of the courses on the separate stitching because it'll just be easier for you to reference it. When you're taking one of the other classes and you come to the lesson on making the cradle, if you've already done it, you can just skip that lesson. I'll begin the class with a lesson on how to cut the bookboard. This, again, is very thick, dense board, and you have to notch it out. 4 notches you'll have to make, and 4 slots. I've filmed the lesson on cutting the board in real time so that you can see that it does take a while to cut through all the layers, and you just want to keep doing it slowly so that you don't break your blade, so that you don't cut yourself, so that you can get through all these layers without it being all chewed out.